Okay, we are live now. Can we bring up Mr. Dominic Jett? And I think I'm trying to do in the area of seniority. So after we're done with Mr. Rogers' cases, we'll do Ms. Hill's cases, and then Ms. Herring, you're going to be bringing up the rear today. Okay, Mr. Jett. Sir, my name is Brad Gardner. I'm going to be the magistrate presiding over your preliminary hearing today. I just want to advise you that these matters are not privileged or private. So anything you say during this hearing can be used against you. So I always tell people, don't say anything that you wouldn't want the whole world to know. Do you understand that, sir? Okay. For the record, this is position 69, State of Georgia versus Dominic Jett. Mr. Jett is charged in warrant number 2022 WA 05572 with committing the offense of aggravated assault by strangulation. He's also charged in warrant number 2022 WA 05573 with committing the misdemeanor offense of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Mr. Jett is in court. He's being represented by attorney Jarvik Rogers, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers is present also, and the state is being represented by Ms. Freeman. Ms. Freeman, you may swear in your witness and present your case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Ramos, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to provide in the case of State of Georgia versus Dominic Jett will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
Officer Darius Ramos with the Forest Park Police Department.
How long have you worked with the Forest Park Police Department?
A little over a year.
And sir, were you working with the Forest Park Police Department on March 27th of 2022?
Yes.
On that particular day, did you respond to 4887 116 Old Dixie Road?
Yes.
And what business is that?
It's a hotel. It's a motel. Efficiency Lodge.
Is that the Western Inn Suites?
Yes, I believe.
Why did you respond to that location?
I was conducting a traffic stop, and while I was conducting the traffic stop, the female, I don't remember her name, she approached me and told me that she wanted to talk to us about an assault that happened at the hotel just a few minutes ago. And after I was done helping the officer with the traffic stop, I went to go assist her.
How far away from the Western Inn Suites were you when you talked to this female who wanted you to go back to the hotel with her?
It's probably about 500 feet away.
Okay. And the female, can you describe her appearance to us?
As far as her body language or her just what she had on her
Well,
face?
you said that you can't remember her name. Did she appear?
Oh, she was light skinned, freckles. She was very frantic and very irate, like something was really bothering her. At first I thought she was maybe, on something, but once I started to talk to her, it was just out of just fear.
Okay. So at that point, after the traffic stop, did you accompany her back to the Western Inn Suites?
Yes.
What did she tell you that happened to her at the Western Inn Suites?
She said that her boyfriend took her phone because he was mad about her talking some app that was used that he said that she was talking to other men, and he took her phone to McDonald's, and when he came back, they got into an altercation, and he basically grabbed her by the neck, pinned her to the wall, and she tried to put her foot onto the nightstand to try to get leverage so she could breathe. And that's when she tried to grab whatever she can grab to hit him over the head so she can let go. And I guess he let go, and then it went to the bed, and then she said she got on top of her on the bed, and then she got loose, and she ran to the bathroom. And that's when he tried to get into the bathroom, and then she said she started to swing in the bathroom, and she got loose, and that's when she got in the car and headed our way.
Now, just so we're clear, when you were conducting the traffic stop, were you conducting the traffic stop of this female?
No. I was conducting a traffic for a whole different person.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, I didn't. He was conducting the traffic stop on what? I didn't understand the last part.
No, I was conducting a traffic stop on a totally different person.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with this.
Okay.
So when this female approached you, was she in a vehicle or was she on foot?
She was in a vehicle.
Okay. Had she and her boyfriend been staying at the hotel?
Yes.
Okay. Was the room in both of their names?
No, I believe it was in his name, but they was paying it in turns. Like she'll pay 1 week and he would pay 1 week from which she stated.
Okay. Did you observe any injuries to the female?
Yes, some scratches on her neck, right by the bottom of her earlobe on 2 sides of her neck. And then there was she had a welt on the back of her ear.
Did you go to the hotel room where she said the incident occurred?
Yes.
Can you describe what the hotel room looked like?
It looked in disarray as if somebody was fighting in there. They had a hookah that was spilled on the ground with water all over the place. There was blood. I asked her about the blood. And she said she didn't know whose blood it was, but again, Jet wasn't on scene during the whole incident. So I assumed it maybe was from him. But she said she didn't know where the blood came from. And there was also, the door was damaged, the bathroom door was damaged. And there was a fan that was broken, and there was an energy drink that was spilled on the bed. So it looked in disarray.
Was she able to give you a description or the name of her boyfriend who she stated caused the damage?
Yes.
And what information did she provide?
When we got there, she said he was wearing a blue jean jacket with a white looking hoodie. He was light skinned and I believe he had jeans on. And we was looking for him all throughout Old Dixie to see if we could locate him. And this is the thing, when we didn't locate him, that's when I went back to finishing my report with her. And in the middle of doing my report with her, we got another call saying that someone was stabbed across the street at the McDonald's. And they described what the person looked like, and it pretty much matched the description of her boyfriend. So I just automatically assumed that that's who it was, because he had the same clothing. They say he had the same clothing on. And when we went over there, I stopped talking to her, went over there to make sure it wasn't the guy. And sure enough, when we approached him, that's when he was saying that she stabbed him. And he didn't do anything wrong. And he was hiding in the bushes in the back of the dumpster.
Were you able to get him from behind the dumpsters? Did he come out?
Yes.
Okay. And was he placed under arrest?
Yes.
Okay. And with this person, is this Mr. Dominic Jett?
Yes.
Okay. Was he searched?
Well, he was injured, so there were so many officers out there. When they grabbed him, they tried to get him aid into the ambulance. So at that point, I wasn't with him. I went back to go talk to the girlfriend. So he wasn't in my custody at that time.
Okay. Do you know if any other officers searched Mr. Jett?
Officer Green is the one I believe that found the marijuana. When they did search him. I'm not the one who found it. So I wouldn't know how they searched him, but I just know he went to the ambulance. That was the last time I saw him.
Okay. And Officer Ramos, when you prepared your report, would you have put information in the report regarding the search of Mr. Jett?
Yeah, so I believe Officer Green did a supplemental to that report when he found the marijuana. So I put that on my report.
Okay. And do you recall, was it less than an ounce of marijuana?
I can't recall exactly how many grams he had on him.
Okay. Now, the female that we're talking about, would you have placed her name in your report?
Yes.
Now, do you have your report in front of you?
No, I don't. I was actually off today, so I didn't get an opportunity to get it.
Okay. Mr. Rogers, I know this is we're in a different type of circumstance via Zoom, and if we were in the courtroom, I would be able to refresh his recollection with his report. Do you have any objection to me asking him about the female's name?
I would object in the sense that I don't think that I don't know if he said that he does not recall or anything like that, or anything that would, justify a refreshing of recollection or anything like that. So,
well, he said earlier he didn't recall her name.
If that's what his testimony is, then I would, I guess I would agree that the circumstances would allow for a slight variation from protocol.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Officer Ramos, the female's name Nikki Crawford?
Yes.
Okay. Did all of this take place in Clayton County?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Before you start, Mr. Rogers, I have a question for Officer Ramos. Was Ms. Crawford arrested also?
No, she wasn't.
Was there an ability to determine who was the primary aggressor? I'm assuming that because
the one that made my most mind up was apparently he took her card and paid for the room right after the incident occurred. So he went to the lobby. Now I went to go talk to the guy in the lobby, and I asked him, "Hey, did he look distraught? He said he looked fine." And at that time, apparently that's when he was stabbed. And he never said anything to the lobby, the clerk, the lady at the guy at the clerk when he paid for the hotel room. He never mentioned of getting stabbed. He said he looked all right to me. He looked regular to me. And he took off and left. And he said that was the last time he seen him. And that was right after the whole incident happened. So at that time, I was like, okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So at that time, I'm like, okay, if she's the one who came to me and told me, hey, this guy just did all of this stuff, and he didn't say anything about, because if somebody says, hey, I got stabbed and I'm the victim, they're going to go straight to the lobby and say, hey, can you call 911? I just got stabbed. But if you're just nonchalant about it, like, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to pay for the room and I'm going to keep doing my own thing, and you just leave without reporting nothing, everything looks disarray in the room, and it kind of correlates what she was kind of saying, like, as far as the door getting kicked in. You see damage on the door. He was already wanted for the warrant, but it wasn't an in-state warrant, armed and dangerous. So when we approached them, we approached with caution. But I was just going off what was based off at the scene.
Okay. Ms. Rogers, before I let you jump in, Ms. Freeman, is there any other questions that you have based upon the question I asked?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Rogers, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Honor. Excuse me. I guess I'll kind of start from what the judge was asking about, which is Number one, are there any witnesses to this incident, to your knowledge?
I believe no, there wasn't.
And as far as the, you said this happened at a motel.
Yeah.
Do you know, to your knowledge, is there any kind of video surveillance of the parking lot or anything like that, or the area where this is supposed to have happened?
No, I believe most of it happened in the room.
Okay. Let me make sure I understood something there. When you were saying that there was a door that had been forced open, you saw damage to a door. What door were you referring to?
The bathroom door that she said she escaped and tried to lock herself in.
And excuse me, so you're on the scene. Do you ever actually see Mr. Jett before Ms. Crawford comes up to you?
No, I didn't. He wasn't. I tried to knock on the door to try to make contact with him, but apparently he wasn't there. And Nikki was just saying, "Hey, I just want to get my stuff out the room." And I guess she had some stuff, her clothes and stuff in there. So she said, "Man, I just want to get my stuff out the room." And I let her get her stuff out the room, but apparently, like I said, he wasn't there. And while I was talking to her, that's when we got the call about the Jet stabbed over by McDonald's.
Let me ask this thing, because she said she got to the car. So is Mr. Jett, as you understand it based on Ms. Crawford's version, is Mr. Jett still at the room when she leaves the room?
You saying when she came up to me at the traffic stop?
Right.
She said that when she left, he was walking up the street of Old Dixie. She said that's the last time she saw him. So apparently, I don't think he was in the room when she left.
Do you know what he was stabbed with? What Mr. Jett was stabbed with?
It was a steak knife.
Have you seen the steak knife recovered?
Yes.
Where was it when you found it? Well, let me back up. Who found it?
Well, this is the thing. So once we found out he was stabbed, we came back. Now she didn't mention that information to me the first time around. And so I told her, I said, did you any time when you, because at first I thought it was maybe when she said she was hitting him with stuff, picking up stuff to try to get him off her. I thought maybe he got hit with something and that's why he was bleeding. But I told her, I said, the guy's bleeding out on the side. I said, did you stab him with anything? And she said, well, yeah, when I ran in the bathroom, I did grab a knife. But while I was swinging at him to get him off of me, she didn't realize that she hit him. And as she was swinging to defend herself to get her off of him, she ran. She said she didn't realize that she poked him. And that's when she said that the knife was in her driver's seat. It was sitting on the passenger driver's side door.
And you said this is, you called it an efficiency lodge, I believe. Is that what you said?
I think it's the Efficiency Lodge Best in Suites.
When you say that, are we talking about like an extended stay kind of setup where it has like a kitchen type area?
I don't believe it has a kitchen. It's just like a regular motel. It has 2 beds in it and the bathroom. I don't believe it has a kitchen.
And so, what is your understanding when she got this knife? When was she? Because the way it was described, it sounds kind of tumultuous. So, at what point is she saying that she was able to grab a knife?
When he threw her on the bed and she got away off the bed, she ran into the bathroom. But as she was running into the bathroom, there was I don't know if you know how the hotel set up, where there's a sink right beside the bathroom door. There was the knife sitting on the sink, and she grabbed it off of the sink. And as she grabbed it, she ran inside the bathroom and closed the door. And that's when she said he followed her in there, kicking the door open. And when he made entry, she just started swinging at him.
Where did you see the blood at in the room?
It was as soon as you walk into the room, it was in the right corner piece next to the nightstand.
Yeah, just we had seen the room. Where's the nightstand?
Yeah, it was. I say It probably was maybe 3 feet away from the bed. CSI did take pictures of the whole scene, so.
Let's see. And so I know you said that you didn't really, I guess, interact with Mr. Jett that much, but did you see him once at the McDonald's? You laid eyes on him visually, I mean?
No, he was hiding in the back of a dumpster in some bushes. And when they said somebody got stabbed, we couldn't find him. So we had to really like search for him. And he was on the back of a dumpster hiding in some bushes. And we told him to come out with his hands up. And that's when he came out with his hands up. And at first I didn't see any blood because he had on the jacket. But when he raised his hands up, I saw blood on his white shirt on the side.
You said on the side?
Yes, it was on his abdomen, his right side, his midsection.
You know, I'm assuming at some point EMS or somebody responded, emergency medical or something.
Yes, they're already there on scene because they have the same radio wave we do. So they was already waiting by to see who was stabbed.
Do you know how much medical attention the stab wound received? Like as far as stitches or just a Band-Aid, do you know?
Yeah, that I don't know. Because like I said, after they took him and he went into the ambulance, I left and went back to talk to Nikki. And they handled that scene over there. So I didn't even stay to watch what they did to him.
Do you know if he left in the ambulance? Like,
I believe so. I believe he was transported in an ambulance.
And he did he told police that he had been stabbed. Did anybody actually ask him about the circumstances?
It was so much going on at that time. Like I said, he just raised his hand and that was it. I don't know if anybody else talked to him about it. But like I said, that was the last time. And then the only time I made contact is when I had to transfer him to the jail.
So essentially the only version that y'all have gotten thus far is from Ms. Crawford.
Yes, as far as I go, that's the only version I got is from her.
No further questions at this time.
Okay, any follow-up, Ms. Freeman?
No, Your Honor, the state rests.
Okay, may Officer Ramos be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You can be excused. Enjoy your day off.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any argument?
The state waives opening.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, I guess I would, and it kind of goes to what you were asking about, which is just that at this point we haven't really established who would be a primary aggressor in this situation. I mean, it could go either way. There's one version, which is the only version that's been given, even though law enforcement had access to Mr. Jett. It's not like they didn't make contact with him on the scene, or excuse me, at the McDonald's, I should say. But so they've had access to him, and nobody's bothered to get his version of events. Ms. Crawford did not mention that she had stabbed him. I don't think that she even mentioned a knife, based on the officer's understanding, and that he thought it was just something that maybe he had been struck with that led him to bleed, as opposed to a stabbing. So I'm not sure that either her recollection is faulty, or in that it lacks for ability, or is dishonest, and that it once a person has stabbed somebody, they realize they got some explaining to do. So that's what this comes down to, is that we have a person who told such a great story, but the main thing that she leaves out is that, I stabbed this person. If you felt like you were justified about it, seems like you would have mentioned it, especially if this person's bleeding enough to leave blood in the room, and things of that nature. So without having gotten Mr. Jett's side of it, all we have is the word of somebody who the police had to discover a person stabbed to find out that she stabbed him. She told him everything else, when I was a kid, they used to tell me, if you're gonna tell somebody else, make sure you tell on yourself. That's not what happened here. So for those reasons, John, I would say that we're a little bit premature in charging Mr. Jett. They haven't heard his version. All we know is that somebody brought a knife to what is alleged to have been a fist fight. Since we don't have any evidence to indicate who's the primary aggressor, for those reasons, John, I would ask that the charge be dismissed for lack of probable cause, because even if the tables were turned and if the person who had done the stabbing was charged, then it's a little bit different. It might not matter as much who the primary aggressor is. But when the person charged with ag assault didn't bring a knife to the situation, and there's no allegation of that, I think we need a little bit more. And so for those reasons, I would ask that you would dismiss for lack of probable cause.
Ms. Judge, we believe that there is sufficient testimony to bind the charges up to Superior Court. This defendant was found hiding behind a dumpster in some bushes. And had he not done anything wrong, just as the officer said, it's just common sense for him not to be hiding in the bushes, for him to have called the police. Here we have a female who had been, who her boyfriend choked her. The officer testified to the visible bruising or scarring that he saw on her. She sought the police out. She left the hotel and went to the officer and wanted to report what this defendant had done to her. The officer testified as to that she appeared to be in distress. She was frantic. He also testified as to how the room appeared to be in disarray, that there clearly had been some kind of altercation going on. The victim also indicated that she started grabbing things to get this man off of her. And so at this stage, at the preliminary hearing, we believe that there is sufficient testimony to bind aggravated assault to Superior Court, as well as the possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Given that the officer wasn't able to testify as to the amount of marijuana, then certainly the assumption is that it is less than an ounce. So we're asking that both charges be bound over.
Yeah, I think just by operation law, if they don't have an amount, it's a misdemeanor. So that is sufficient for that charge. The aggravated assault by strangulation, the testimony about seeing marks around the neck and earlobe, combined with what she said, is sufficient for this to go forward, to be bound over to Superior Court. But the circumstances are definitely less than ideal. And I did find it troubling that at least from the initial testimony of the officer, that the whole blood thing in the room was like just something that was overlooked. Now, I think this life experience tells me that this is probably a two-way street. And so to the extent that Ms. Crawford wasn't charged, I don't make those decisions, but there is sufficient evidence for this case to be bound over for trial in Superior Court. And we'll just see what happens when it gets to that point. So,
thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. So Mr. Jett can be returned back, and it's going to be the ruling of the court that this case is bound over to Superior Court. Okay, what's the next case?
Wallace, we're working to get an officer to log on.
Okay.
And Judge, we're still on YouTube.
All right.